Have you been trying to buy a house, you find one you're interested in, but when you give the address to your real estate agent, you find out that the property is already pending? Or maybe you're browsing around a website like Zillow or Realtor.com and it seems like every single house you click on has a pending status attached to it. Well, in today's video, we're going to talk about what this pending status means to you and whether or not you still have an opportunity to buy the house when it's in this pending status. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Scott. I've been buying and selling houses for going on 10 years now, so I have a lot of experience with this frustration of going after a property only to find out that it's pending. So today we'll talk about what that status means, we'll talk about what all the other statuses mean that you hear real estate agents throw around, and then at the end I'll give some tips on what I personally do to get my offers accepted in a competitive market. Let's get into it, but before we do, I'll just say that if you guys enjoy real estate related content, think about hitting the subscribe button down below because I'm posting new videos just like this one every week. And if you like the video so far, if you wouldn't mind, just hit the like button for me because that'll really help me out a lot. Alright, so what are all the different statuses that you can expect to see when you're looking to buy a house? The exact name for these statuses may be a little bit different depending on who you're talking to and what region you're in, but we'll cover the top 5 today that you're most likely to hear whenever you're house shopping. The first status is active, and this should be the most exciting status that you see if you're a buyer, because this means that the property is still in an active for sale status and there's likely no other offers that have been accepted yet. It's possible that there are other offers on the table, but if the seller has not accepted an offer yet, that means you still have a shot at buying this house. Another status you might see is coming soon, and this is a status that sellers agents use when a house is almost ready to be listed for sale, so they want to get a little teaser out to the market. The seller's probably finishing some renovations or staging the house, but the seller's agent wants to create a little bit of a buzz by putting the house into a coming soon status that agents can see, but not a fully active status that the general public can see. These properties are great to keep an eye out for if you're house shopping because there will be less competition if you're interested in making an offer. I recommend you have your agent set you up with an alert where you get an email automatically anytime a property falls into this coming soon status. Then we've got the reason that you clicked on this video, and that is the pending status. So this status is universally used by most agents when the seller accepts somebody's offer, but what does that mean to you if you're still interested in the house and you'd like to make an offer as well? So to put it simply, if that seller has accepted somebody else's offer, then technically that seller has a legal obligation to sell the house to that buyer. But the good news for you is that in most purchase agreements, the buyer has around 7 to 10 days for their inspections or their due diligence period, which means they have the right to back out of the deal for pretty much any reason if the property does not meet their expectations. So just because a house is in a pending status doesn't mean it's completely off the table. My recommendation is that if you find a house that's in a pending status that you love, you have your real estate agent call the seller's agent and find out if that buyer is in their 7 to 10 day inspection window. This will help you to understand whether or not that buyer is still in that window of time where they could potentially back out of the deal. If they do back out of the deal, then you want to be the next buyer in line. And this brings us to our next status, which is called UCB, which stands for under contract backups. This status is very similar to pending in that it means that the property is already under contract with another buyer, but the seller is open to receiving backup offers. If you love the house, you should definitely write a backup offer because that means that if the other deal does fall apart, then the seller will already have a written contract from you in the backup position saying that you're ready to buy their house. And the last one on our list today that we'll cover is contingent. This is another status that you'll probably see a lot whenever you're house hunting, especially if you're looking on websites like Zillow or Realtor.com, and this status is also very similar to pending. This contingent status just means that the property is under contract or pending, but the buyer has contingencies built into the offer, meaning that the buyer has reason to back out of the deal if certain criteria is not met. So these contingent status properties are another example of a property that you should definitely consider making a backup offer on if you really love the house. So all that can get a little bit confusing and overwhelming, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, but to oversimplify everything, just remember that if you're house hunting, you're going to find houses that are either active for sale or under contract, and if it's under contract, no matter what it says on the listing, you may still be able to make a backup offer and get that house if the other buyer backs out. And now I want to share some tips with you guys on what's worked for me to get my offers accepted in a super competitive market, because it's not an easy time to be house hunting right now with the supply and demand issues. I will say that I made an entire video on how to get your offer accepted, so I'll post the link to that video in the description below, but today I'll just do a Cliff Notes version. The first tip is that you need to define your criteria on exactly what you're looking for. How many bedrooms do you want? How many bathrooms do you want? How much square footage do you want? What lot size do you want? What neighborhood do you want to be in? What school district do you want to be in? All of that should be defined, and your agent should know your criteria because when they do, they can actually set up what's called a drip for you, which means that you'll automatically get an email every time a property that meets your criteria hits the market. And the second thing you need to do is be prepared to make offers on properties within minutes of them hitting the market, and yes, I mean minutes. If you are house hunting and you know what you're looking for and you know what neighborhood you want to be in, then you should be comfortable making an offer immediately, because if your offer gets accepted, you'll almost always have your inspection period to back out of the deal if the property doesn't meet your expectations. So because of that, I often make offers on properties sight unseen, which means I've never physically gone and seen the property yet, because I know I can go see the property during my inspection period if my offer does get accepted. And the third tip that I'll share today, this worked for me many times in the past in a competitive market, is when you're making an offer on a property, write a personalized letter to the seller. In the letter, explain why you love their house so much and why they should accept your offer instead of accepting somebody else's offer. If you explain to them that you've been looking for a home for months, you love their property, you can't wait to start a family there, then you may play off the seller's emotions and convince them to sell you their property as opposed to sell it to somebody else. Check out my other video if you're looking for some more detail on this topic of getting your offer accepted, but I'll warn you that I filmed that video a long time ago, so I was not nearly as comfortable on camera back then, and my editing wasn't as smooth either. So that's a wrap for this one, and I know I could have defined a pending status in like a 2-minute video, but I wanted to get into a little bit more detail for you guys that are house hunting and having a really hard time finding a house right now. I know in my experience, I'm personally looking for houses right now, and I'm having a really hard time finding a deal, and I have friends and family who are also looking for houses for themselves who are having the same predicament due to there just being so much competition right now. Hopefully you found the information in this video helpful today, and if you have any additional questions about your house hunt or need any additional support, let me know about it in the comments below and I'll do my best to help. And one more time, I'll say that if you enjoy these real estate related videos, think about hitting the subscribe button because I'm posting new videos every week and I'd love to have you along for the ride. One last reminder to hit the like button for me as well if you haven't done that yet, because that'll really help to support this video and my channel. But that's all I've got for you guys this time, so until next time, see ya!